So in today's session, we are going to discuss about change management, guys. First of all, we need to understand what is change. The organizations, you will have different softwares. In the organization, you will have different softwares. In any one of the software, if you want to make any changes, you should not directly change it. You have to take the management permission and you have to make the changes. Let us say I am a ServiceNow developer. I want to make some changes in ServiceNow. I should not directly change it. I have to take the permission from the management and I have to make the changes. No. I am a developer. I don't want to take permission from the management. I'll directly do it means they'll ask you to leave that organization. Okay. You should be very careful, guys, when you are making the changes in the softwares. If you don't take the permission from the management, they'll see 1 or 2 times, they'll throw you out. They'll throw you out. Okay. So if you want to modify any application software in the organization, you have to ask management. Okay. So what is change means any modification in the application software is actually any modification in the application software is change request. So, sorry, change. Any modification. So in the ServiceNow, if I have to add something, that is change. In the ServiceNow, I have to remove something, that is a change. If I have to edit something, that is also a change. Any modification. Modification means it can be addition, removal, or updation. Any modification comes under change. Getting my point, right? So if Salesforce developer want to make any changes in the Salesforce software, he has to take permission from the Salesforce management. If ServiceNow developer has to make some changes in the ServiceNow software means he has to take permission from the ServiceNow management. If Tableau developer want to make some changes in the Tableau software means he has to take the permission from the Tableau management. If Power BI developers want to make some changes in the Power BI software means they have to take the permission from the Power BI management. Without management permission, you should not make any changes. Okay. So let me just take this particular URL here. So in the organization, there will be 3 URLs, guys. You all know that. I already told you. There will be 3 URLs. So this is the place where developer will work. Tester will work. So admins will work. And all employees use this production. All employees also use. Okay. This one is important one. Production one is actually important one. Because this will be used by all the employees. When employees get any issues, admins will be there in the production environment, right? Admins will provide the solution. Every employees will be using production URL. When employee is using this particular URL, if they get any issues, they will contact ServiceNow admins. Production URL is very important one. Production is very important one. Not only in ServiceNow, guys. You take any application software, these 3 environments will be there. Not only in the software, if you take outside also, car will be manufactured at one place, tested at one place, sold at one place. Okay. In every product, there will be three environments. One is actually developer environment, dev environment, test environment, and prod environment. Prod environment is actually very important. Okay. Developers will actually develop something here in this URL. So using update sets, they will move their development to this particular URL. Here testers will test it. So here let us say manufacturer has manufactured one tractor or one car. That car has to be taken here. That car we have to take it here. So the testers will test it here. After testing it, it will come to the showroom. So similarly, developer will develop something here and it will be tested by testers. After testing it, testing is completed. You have to ask the management. I have actually developed something and it is tested successfully. And I want your permission so that I can move it to production. So that client will ask you, show me one more time so that I will notice. Then you have to show the demo to the client as well. You will develop something here and you will move it to testing. Testers will test it. After the testing is successfully completed, okay. So then you will go for management. Your management, you have to ask your management. I have developed something. I want to move it to production. I need your permission. So once management has permitted, then we will actually make those changes in the production. Because production is actually very important one. Because production will be used by employees. Okay. Production will be used by employees. Not only in ServiceNow, in the Salesforce also there will be three environments. Salesforce Dev, Salesforce Test, Salesforce Prod. In the Salesforce Dev, in the developers will work. After doing the development, they will move it to test environment. Their testers will test it. After testing is successfully completed, they will ask their management, Salesforce management, we have done this particular development and we have got it tested successfully and we want to move them to the production. You guys are clear, right? Okay. So after testing, if it is successful, then fine. If it is not successful, tester will create a defect to the developer. Developer, in your development, I have find this defect, kindly fix it. So after all defects are fixed, then the product is good. After product is good, you will go to the management. I have developed this particular product. I have developed this particular area. I would request you to approve so that I can actually move it to the production URL. We should not make any changes in the production environment. If you directly make the changes in the production environment, you will be asked to leave the organization. First, to make the changes in the dev environment. Okay. Yes. First, you will make the changes in the dev environment. You will get it tested. After the testing is successful, you will have to ask the management. Then you will move the changes to the production. If you directly go to the production and make the changes, then you will be asked to leave the organization because you don't know the process. Okay. Okay. So now we will come to the point. Here in the dev environment, developers will work and we will actually get it tested. Testing is successful. And how do we ask the manager to approve it? That is where we will create a change request. That is where we will create a change request. Okay. Change request. So we will create a change request. In the change request, we will mention everything. Crystal clearly, we will mention everything. What are we going to do? When are we going to do? Everything we will actually write it down in the change request. We'll actually show that request to management. Management will provide the approval. After the approval, you have to make the changes in the production. Getting my point? So I'm a ServiceNow developer. I have developed something, I got it tested, and I want to move something to the production. Before moving it to the production, I have to ask the management to provide their approval. So for that, I am creating a change request. Every change request should be created in ServiceNow only. It can be, he can be Salesforce developer, he can be Power BI developer, he can be Tableau developer, he can be AWS developer, he can be Azure developer, he can be Microsoft Dynamics developer, it can be any developer. The change request must be created in ServiceNow only. ServiceNow is the point of contact for change request. Just to type change here. Click on under change application menu, you will find a module called create new. If you click on create new, so click on normal here. So this is how the change form look like. Okay. So requested by your team lead name you can select. Hmm? Your team lead name you can select. Category is it related to application software, service. So guys, AC is a service. Under AC installment, AC uninstallment, AC liquid change, AC fan cleaning. Those are actually service offerings. AC repair is actually a service. Under AC repair, there can be different service offerings. So likewise, here IT service is actually a service. Under IT, we have different service offerings. There are no service offerings for now. So configuration item. Configuration item here is ServiceNow. Okay. Priority. How soon you want to make this change? So priority means how important it is. Risk. So risk means, guys, when you are making the changes, because of our changes, if application is not available for certain period of time, if the application is not available for certain period of time, that is a risk. Because of this change, ServiceNow won't be available for 1 hour. That is a risk. Because every employee is 1 hour not using ServiceNow means, let us say 3 lakhs, 3 lakhs employees are there means 3 lakhs hours. 3 lakhs hours is huge amount, huge time, right? And impact. How many users are impacted? In the organization, only limited users are impacted. So every user is impacted means high. Only limited users impacted means medium. No impact means low. Here model, we have 3 types of change request: normal change request, emergency change request, and standard change request. So as we are discussing normal change request, we are just seeing normal here. We'll discuss about emergency and standard later. And whenever we create the change request, it will be in the new state first. Okay. So ignore about this field for now. Risk level, we'll come to this one later. Conflict status. So if you are making two changes at the same time, then that will come as conflict. So in this particular same service now, in this particular service now application, on the same configuration item at the same time, if you are trying to make the changes, it will come as conflict. That come as conflict. So conflict status means if there is any other change request, the same configuration item at the same time, that comes under conflict. Yes, contradiction. So management group name. So service now management group name you have to select here. So you will write a clear description here. Here justification. Why do we need this form? You can hover on this one. Enter benefits of implementing this change and impact if change is not implemented. You have to tell the reason why this change request is needed. Justification means reason. Okay. Implementation plan. How are enter sequential steps to implement this change? Step by step process to make these changes. So you have to write step 1, step 2, something like that. Okay. Risk impact analysis. Because of this particular change, if the service now is not available for 1 hour, okay. So how many employees will be impacted? You will write down here. Out plan. Once you make the changes, because of this change, existing functionality got impacted. Existing functionality is working fine. Because of your changes, the existing functionality got collapsed. Getting my point? Because of your change, the existing functionality got collapsed. What is your backout plan? So how do you remove your changes? If the existing functionality got impacted, how do you remove your changes? Enter steps to revert the change to its prior to the implementation. How do you back out the changes that you made? Okay. So you have to remove the change that you made to the production if it has impacted existing functionality. How are you going to test it? Test plan. Enter details of planned and completed tests prior to implementation. So you have to enter test plan as well. You have to select the date on which date you are going to make the changes. I have to change the preference here. On August 17th, I want to make this change. Between August 17th and 18th, I want to make this change. Okay. Okay. If there is a conflict, it will say conflict. Normally, if there is a conflict, we won't allow them to create the change request in the organizations. In the organizations, if there is a conflict, we won't allow them to create a change request. Okay. You can scroll down here. You see conflict, not in a maintenance window. Okay. As it is in a conflict mode, normally in the organizations, it won't allow you to create the change request. Here, it is actually allowing. Okay. So after creating the change request, there is a request approval. If you click on request approval, the approval will go to the management. So this particular group is actually the management group, application development group. This management will actually receive the approval whenever I click on request approval here. Okay. We are in the SS state now. From new state to SS state, we moved. You scroll down, the approver section, there are actually 6 approvers from the application development group. Only one has to approve. All these are actually from ServiceNow management team. Anyone has to approve. If anyone approved, okay, if anyone approved, now it went to authorized stage. In the authorized stage, there will be another approval called change advisory board approval, CAB approval. That will actually check your change quality. They are 24/7 available. You can contact them, you can give them a call, you can email them so that they will be approving it. So if the change request quality is good, they will actually approve it. Now it is in the scheduled phase. Scheduled phase means here, scheduled phase means you will wait for this particular planned start date. Okay. Scheduled start date means, so based on the client, yes. Nilma, it is based on the client. It is not a standard approval. So in the scheduled phase, it will wait for 11 days. Once it reaches this August 17th, okay, once it reaches this August 17th, automatically it will go to implementation stage. So this stage I created, guys. This pre-implementation I created. I can also remove this one. For understanding, I created that. Okay, pre-implementation is gone. So once it reaches this August 17th, it will automatically go to implementation phase. So that means between August, once it reaches August 17th, it will go to implementation stage, right? On the August 17th, in the implementation phase, you have to move your changes to the production. On August 17th, when you are in the implementation stage, you have to move your changes to the production. Okay. So here there will be 2 tasks created. Once you made your changes to the production, you will actually close this task. Closing this task means you completed the changes. So you will complete this task here. Okay. So you closed the task means you moved your changes to the production. If you didn't complete the task means you haven't moved the changes to the production. Once you completed the task means you moved the changes to the production. The meaning of the task is, if you close the task, they will understand that you moved the changes to the production. And after moving the changes, you have to test it. Once it is tested, you have to complete this task. Once this task is completed means you tested it. You can see testing task. Okay. Once you completed this task, those implementation task is completed, testing task is completed. You can see now the state is automatically went to review state. Now the state went to review state automatically. So in the review state, you have to provide your final feedback. How did you move the changes to the production? Is that successful or not? If it is successful, then you will mark it as successful. If it is unsuccessful, you will mark it as unsuccessful. If it is successful with the issues, you will mention this one. Then you will write it down here and you will close the change request. Okay. Cancelled means you can also cancel the change request before the approval. Before the implementation plan, you can cancel the change request. Okay. Fine. So this is the change life cycle. First, you will create a change request with all the required information such as justification, risk impact analysis, implementation plan, test plan, backout plan, a planned start date, planned end date. With all the information, you will create a change request. After that, you will click on request approval on the top. It will go to SS phase. And once the management approved, it will go to authorized phase. In the authorized phase, change advisory board has to approve. Then it will go to scheduled phase. In the scheduled phase, it will wait for the planned start date. Once it reaches this planned start date, it will go to implementation phase. In the implementation phase, you will have to make the actual changes. Once you made the actual changes, you have to complete the implementation task. And then you have to do the testing. Once testing is completed, you have to complete the testing task. Once task is completed, it will automatically go to review phase. In the review phase, you have to provide your final feedback. Then it will go to closed state. So this is the change life cycle, guys. This is the change life cycle. So here, as a ServiceNow developer, you will make the changes in the ServiceNow dev environment. Later, you move it to test environment. That will be tested by testers. After testing is completed, you will create a change request in ServiceNow to the management. Once they approved it, you will move the changes to the production. Let us take you are a Salesforce developer. You will make the changes in the Salesforce dev environment. You will get it tested in the test environment. After completed, you will create a change request in ServiceNow. You will create a change request in ServiceNow. You will get the approval from the Salesforce management. During the planned start date and end date, you will make the changes to the Salesforce production and you will close the implementation task and testing task. You will close the change request finally. So even though you are a Salesforce developer, even though you are a Power BI developer, change request must be created in ServiceNow. Clear, right? Okay. We will create a change request if you want to make any changes in the ServiceNow software. But here, designing this change request form is also our responsibility as a ServiceNow developer. Designing this change request form also is our responsibility as a ServiceNow developer. We will be using this change request form to create the change request. We also will be designing the change request form as a ServiceNow developer. Okay. So here, when you click on this button, automatically it is sending approvals, right? How is it sending approvals to the group management? So because there is a workflow that is running in the backend. There is a flow designer that is running in the backend. These flow designers also will be understanding in coming sessions. You can say change normal authorize, change normal assess, change normal implement. So first this will be executed. Then this will be executed. Then this will be executed. Okay. These flows will be running in the backend. This concept comes under flow designer concept. Once we understand the flow designer concept, you will be able to understand these better. These are running in the backend. These are actually sending the approvals. These are actually moving the state to automatically from implementation to review. Okay. You guys are clear, right? So likewise, change requests are very important in ServiceNow. Without a change request, no changes should be done in the organization. No changes should be done in the organization. Every change request must be created in ServiceNow so that we can track in future. After 1 year, in ServiceNow, how many changes are made? In Salesforce, how many changes are made? In Power BI, how many changes are made? In Tableau, how many changes are made? You can see in ServiceNow. What time this change was made? We can have a proper track in ServiceNow. In the organization, what are all the changes that are being done? We are tracking in ServiceNow. That is the main motto of this particular change request. Okay. Any questions from anyone, guys? I am unmuting everyone, guys. Hello. Nilma, you are trying to ask me a question.
So in real time, so client will be asked us to create the workflows. Like, so we'll be given all the documentation regarding the workflow.
Yes.
Yeah,
He
like
should. He
detailed
should give.
documentation, because we don't need to summarize. I mean, remember these workflows, right?
No, we don't need to remember. He will give detailed documentation, what exactly he wants and all.
Okay.
Suppose he want the form. On the form, what are all the fields he want?
Okay.
There will be a detailed document.
Okay. Which
In
flow
that,
should be the next to different flows?
yes.
Okay.
There will be a template. Okay. The template is actually a detailed description where
Okay.
he will be given in a proper format. If they are giving in a proper format, it will be easy for us to understand and develop.
Yeah.
So once it goes into production stage, once our development is into production stage, we have post implementation testing, right? Who will do this testing after
Post
implementing?
implementation testing will be done by developers only.
We'll only do this.
So is it the kind of unit testing?
Yes.
So
Unit
like,
testing only.
so it's like an so I worked as an customer executive as well with the one of the organizations in my past experience, where I used to have the tool Atlassian Jira, where we used to do that manual testing as well for the websites which we are creating, where developers used to do the coding and all and launch it in the test URL, and we used to test it and inform them whether there is a bug or not, if the functionality is working fine or not. After we gave the approval, they used to launch that flow in the production. Then we used to test it again in the production where everything is working fine or not. So it's like a similar platform we are working on right now, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Like Jira only, we are actually implementing the same thing in the service now.
So we here we will be just creating the workflows because that all
So we'll be
the
creating the workflows as well. We'll be designing the forms. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me give you one example here. In the scheduled phase, so this planned end date should always be after planned start date. If I select a planned end date before the planned start date, it should throw me an error.
yes, sir.
Planned end date must be after the planned start date. So these kind of validations also will take care. These are called validations. Okay.
So these
So
are
these
all will be
will
provided by
validate.
the client.
So that's what. Yes, please.
So these are all changes will be provided by clients. What we have to do and when the
Yes.
schedule should be set, or is it done by us?
No, no, no. Client, whatever client want, he will inform us. We have to do. Okay. See, we are hired as a ServiceNow developer. In ServiceNow, whatever the changes that he want, he will ask us. We have to do it. When a owner is constructing a house, he will hire a mason. Whatever he was asked, he is supposed to. Isn't it? Madam, you are trying to ask me a question, madam. Hmm. Yes. We are ServiceNow developer, right? Everything in ServiceNow. Whatever the changes that has to be done in ServiceNow, we ServiceNow developers has to do it. Okay. This form design and all we have to take care. The form validations, in the form we have to do some validations. Those form validations will take care. This button creation will take care. The process flows we will take care.
So Uday, the
This
ServiceNow
SIM2 is for,
developers,
yes.
uh, do we also have options of freelancing once we become a developer?
Yeah, there are so many freelancing opportunities.
Because once we clear the training, so
Yes.
we can guide you to get our hands on by being a freelancer before actually appearing for an interview. Will that help us in?
Yeah, definitely. If you go as a freelancer, first of all, you will get the knowledge. You will get the knowledge. Then you can go for a full-time role. Not everyone can see it. Only limited persons can see it. We can restrict it. No, no. So after testing is completed, developers will move it to the production. So in the production, developers only will test it. Okay. Usually in my organization, we don't have separate testing team. We developers will act as testers only. So in my organization, we will do the testing when we move it to the production. But some organizations they might ask testers to test it. Okay. Any questions from anyone, guys?